internet, and also the Freedom Astrologer, once again here, and bring another slice of freedom into your day. So, in this mini series that's already been going on called Spiritual Awakening through Astrology, we're already now, let's say, on the sixth video. We can call it the sixth phase as well. I've obviously named and kind of numbered the phases, but guys, like I said in previous videos, there are many phases that kind of overlap, they kind of mix and match, and there's one transit comes in and you're still in one of the other phases, but it can feel the new phase, for example. So you use them as kind of like gentle guidelines is what I'm meaning and what I'm saying, and don't get stuck into them. Use them as kind of reference points to understand where you're at, to where some of the people you're working with or being with or talking to with, where they might be at. And let's go into it. Now, we've been through kind of like the start of the awakening, the kind of like darkness, and then the light, and again the very dark night of the soul, as we call it in kind of like spirituality, let's say. And now, after the dark night of the soul, now this is a very important part of this video, guys. After the dark night of the soul, there is a what I would call a rise of the phoenix, or even the rise of the phoenix. So remember, when we're talking a lot about spiritual and spiritual awakening and spirituality in general, like maybe even the tougher parts of spirituality, we're talking a lot about Pluto. And if you haven't seen the rest of the videos in this series, please go back and watch them. I won't repeat everything, but we're mainly talking about Pluto again when we're talking about the rise of the phoenix. Yes, Jupiter always helps us and kind of brings expansion and openings as well. But when we're talking about really finding our power, reclaiming our power, kind of really understanding how powerful we really are deep down and inside of ourselves, and that, yes, that can expand to outside of ourselves and into the material realm, we're still talking about Pluto. So remember, in more of that like difficult, like the dark night of the soul, the painful growth, that's Pluto mostly square or opposition, or very often conjunctions as well in the birth charts to the ascendant ruler, eighth house ruler, a little bit ninth house ruler as well. Now, when we come out of these dark night of the souls, because there can be many in our lifetimes, there, sometimes Pluto makes aspects to other planets and other houses quite close to the previous dark night of the soul, so it can bring another layer. But when we get out of those, remember, it takes a lot of time usually with the Pluto transits, but very often we start to get at least a sign-based trine or a sign-based sextile, or maybe Pluto makes a sign-based sextile or trine to something else in the chart, like the sun, or maybe again ninth house, eighth house ruler makes it a positive aspect. But for the sake of clarity, let's say Pluto to ascendant, like I have on this chart, for example, a chart. Sorry, another tongue twister here. In this example chart, Pluto is giving a nice trine to exactly the ascendant. Now, obviously, with Pluto and with every kind of transit, it starts to come in a little bit sooner. I would say mostly with Pluto, maximum 2 degrees, or to start feeling the effects of that kind of power, to see the power within yourself. 1 degree obviously is very, already can feel it really strongly. The same degree even stronger. Now, what starts happening, let's say, and of course, let's talk a little bit about the ascendant ruler here as well, because it's the moon in this chart, in this example, it's the moon. So you can see the moon is on 3 degrees. Yes, Pluto is on 28 degrees because of the ascendant. I wanted to bring that example. But before Pluto makes the trine to actually the ascendant, it actually made a nice little sextile to the ascendant ruler as well. So you can see how these cycles can repeat. Sometimes, this person maybe could feel really strongly those more the things that I'm about to say about this sixth phase, and they got another. They got this moon thing, or the ascendant ruler period, felt power, got discovered deeper things within themselves, and now they're getting that ascendant directly to the ascendant as well. So it kind of repeats, or even it repeats, but it repeats on a deeper level as well. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know. I will do my best to explain it as well. So this is literally the phase where you rise from the ashes. Like everything has been burnt down during the dark night of soul. Every kind of false false idea you had about yourself or life or relationship, or basically everything during the square or during the opposition, everything gets burned down. There's nothing left. And now, gradually, as the sextile and the trine start forming, you start to pick up the pieces. And not only pick up the pieces, but as you've gone through all of this pain and darkness, and it's been a very difficult period in life, make no mistake about it. But that darkness and going through that darkness has finally showed you how strong you really are. And not only that, not only the strength is important here, but it's also important to kind of to be able to see your own darkness and to be able to be okay with it, and not only okay with it, to transform that darkness as well. And right now, when it starts to turn and twist into that sextile or trine, you will start to see all the work you've been doing during that opposition or square that has led you to this moment in time and space. This very strong place. Yes, it's a little bit fragile still. Yes, it's a little bit scary still maybe, but you're starting to grasp and starting to see, okay, so I have this internal power. I've gone through all of these difficult moments. I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm not doing all this weird, weird pattern things that I used to do before. They have started to subside because I've let my old life, my old self be burned down, and now I'm rebuilding myself as well. And this is important as well. When these trines and sextiles get into place, it's easier to start seeing that power as well, and to even feel it, because Pluto is a very, very intense planet, and you can feel the twists and turns of Pluto. It's a slow one, yes, but like the intensity that comes with Pluto I think it's unrivaled. Totally, no other planet can make us feel like that. And also important to understand, and like we understand it deeply now. Yes, that we're strong and powerful. But as the kind of sextile and trine gets exact and more precise, we start to also put our kind of work and put our, let's say, put our power outside of ourselves. This means into the world. So now it means we're already starting to integrate. Or we can even say we're integrated a bunch of let's say our darkness. When you integrate a lot of your darkness, what happens is you actually become stronger as a human being. So when you become that strong as a human being and you show up in the material world with that strength, that is a lot to what this Pluto trines and sextiles can do for you. Is you show up as this new, stronger phoenix, this shining, mythical creature who has seen the darkness. People can feel it. People can understand it. People usually gravitate towards it as well when you embody it. And like going through all of that pain has helped you to embody now this new you, this new strength, this powerful person you have become. Now, it is also important to mention that this is the time where you understand how powerful you actually are, but not only that, you start to understand that experience going through that pain and darkness has brought a lot of skills, brought a lot of knowledge and wisdom that is or can be used to help others and help transform others, because you know there are different cycles in each of our lives, and you've maybe just gone through this darkness, but other people might be just beginning their dark night of the soul journey, and you're going to need every bit of and every ounce of help during that darkness journey. And this is the time where you, as this, let's say, in that moment, let's say in a stronger place person, can help the person who's more vulnerable and who's going through a lot of shit on their own. And it's important to understand, because there's transformation doesn't just happen. Transformation is a kind of like thing you where you gather wisdom and knowledge about whatever it is that you're going through, because there's a lot of things that we experienced as children, as maybe past lives and stuff like that, that comes up during the dark night of soul. And once you solve these issues, and once you transform and burn down these issues and rebuild, you can then use that knowledge and help others as well. Now, I wanted to start bringing in this video, actually, hopefully I can find that. Where is it? Is this the one? Nope. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So, so what I wanted to bring in these two examples as well, because we've talked a lot about Pluto, we talked a lot about Jupiter. Yes, these are the main ones. One is kind of throws us into the darkness, the other helps us out of that darkness and helps to see the meaning behind it all, and helpers brings helpers, and then the darkness bringer turns into our helper as well, or helps us to see our strength through that thing. But what also happens is we get transits of Neptune, and very often these transits of Neptune happen also, they don't have to happen all at once. Obviously, it doesn't always happen like that for everybody. For me, it actually fortunately happened like that. I was going through a lot of things, then the Neptune transit came in. And what Neptune does, and in this example, you can see that Neptune is starting to conjunct the ascendant. And now in this example, it's quite precisely conjuncting the ascendant. Now, again, we're talking about Neptune conjunctions to the ascendant ruler, even Neptune to the fourth house transit, fourth house ruler transit. Conjunctions are the most effective. Trine sextiles definitely right now that we're speaking of. And now, when Neptune starts to come in, and let's say if you've kind of risen as the phoenix, and you are already there, and you gather some some skills through that transformation in darkness. Now, what Neptune starts to do is, obviously Pluto helps with intuition, and if you want to know a lot about psychic, let's say psychic significators in astrology, please go look at the video mini series we did with Donnie. There's a lot of information on, you know, psychic intuitive significators in astrology, a lot of experiences. Please go look at those videos on my channel. Really good videos. But when Neptune starts to come in as well, Pluto can be, you know, we feel it in the gut, and we kind of, you know, nobody can bullshit us after we've gone through that darkness. And this is kind of like more Pluto type energy. But when Neptune comes in as well, even I would say the third house ruler and third house transit can be quite an intense one with Neptune. Even ninth house ruler conjunctions, ascendant I already mentioned. Now, when it comes in, it starts to even add another layer. It starts to bring in these visual messages. You know, it really expands the spiritual kind of psychic side of the person. I have a person right now very close to me who's experiencing actually Neptune on the ascendant, and with the retrogrades, they've experienced it for a while now. And what started really happening, and it was really good for me to kind of see it from the sidelines as well, because having gone through it myself, obviously every person is a little bit different, but what I started seeing is their intuition really started picking up, really started kind of like feeling into people what they, or even noticing that they're experiencing these kinds of sensations, feelings about others, and they can understand what's going on with them, and there's information coming in. So this is what Neptune does. Neptune is the psychic. Neptune is like clear images, visualizations, like can see what is going on. And I would say, yes, there are other things that kind of indicate feeling, but yes, Neptune is definitely one that can almost sensitize or desensitize, I guess, the feelings, especially with the ascendant, and kind of pick up into the body of what is going on. So whenever you notice that type of transit going on as well, again, psychic powers are being awakened, are being brought to you to understand, to learn, again, to help others. And yes, sometimes again it happens during those darker moments. You know, you get the dark night of the soul, and you get at the same time you get that Neptune transit. So it's kind of your visions are opening, and you're getting visionary dreams, and you're seeing, you're feeling everything about everybody, but at the same time you're still kind of not ready to, you step out. You're kind of experiencing that pain and releasing that darkness as well. So it can happen in a mixture of ways. So hope you liked this Rise of the Phoenix video. More to come in this mini series, spirituality, awakening through astrology. You know, there's a couple of more videos I wanted to really do and talk to you about some things here that can happen on this spiritual awakening journey for us, and some of the planets that might be the culprits. And thanks a lot, guys, for watching, listening. Like, subscribe, share, comment on the video. Tell me about your psychic capabilities. Tell me about your journeys of spiritual awakening. How are you handling it? Have you handled it? What are the tips? Do you have some tips? If not, you're at the right place. Okay, thanks, guys, and see you again soon in the next video.